Hey everybody. A while back I had picked up the Zero Tolerance 0560, an incredibly popular knife that is highly regarded and everybody just seems to love. And at the time I had decided that I didn't really like the knife all that well once I actually had it in my hand. And there are a couple of reasons for that, which I'll kind of get into. But what I did at the time was I traded my 560 for this Benchmade Skirmish. I'd always wanted to get a Skirmish. I just think it's an awesome design. It looks sweet, and I love that blade. So that turned out really well. It's pretty cool. And I was happy with that. Now, fast forward a couple of weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is, and the opportunity came up to get a Zero Tolerance 560. You know, I found it online. It was a really good price, you know, basically the lowest price that you can get a 560 for, and I jumped on it. So here it is. I have another Zero Tolerance 560. So this video is going to be the Zero Tolerance 560 Revisited. Now, why did I decide to get another Zero Tolerance 560? Well, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, I really like this Kershaw tilt that I'd picked up. I love the KVT system, the blade, the flipper. The KVT system is just really sweet, and this knife is awesome, and I love it. Also, you know, I have the 550 with these cool blue scales now, and another really great knife, and basically I just wanted to give the 560 another chance. I'd kind of heard some rumblings, you know, on the forums or whatever, that maybe there were some little tweaks here and there about some of the things that I didn't originally like. So some of the changes were the overall texture of this G10. It seems like it's much less aggressive on this particular knife, and that was really bothering me originally. It just was really sharp. I mean, all these little ridges right here were just super pointy, and now I don't know if they, you know, left this in the tumbler a little bit longer and it smoothed out, but it's a different texture. It's not nearly as aggressive. So that's not bothering me anymore. I like this texture. Also, on my original knife, the detent was so strong that, you know, even when you're holding the knife correctly, where you're not touching the lock bar, I could not use the thumb stud to open the knife at all. It was just, I mean, you would press and press and until your finger, you know, about bled, and it just would not open. And now with this version, I don't know, hopefully I can do it on camera. It's kind of a weird angle, but it flips right out, no problem. So the detent is not nearly as strong on this particular version, this knife. Also, this lock bar just doesn't feel as sharp. These ridges right here, the jimping on the lock bar, not as sharp. It doesn't tear up my fingers as much. That also might be because the lock bar itself seems a little bit less stiff. And then finally, the other area that was a little bit sharp was this back section here. These serrations, these grooves on my original knife, these were so sharp I had kind of considered, you know, trying to cut with these and see how that worked. They were so sharp. But now they're just a little bit more rounded. I mean, they're still pretty aggressive, but not nearly as much as they were on my first knife. So I just think that maybe, you know, over time, as they kind of, you know, make a couple of batches of these knives, I kind of think that they just took some of the feedback maybe. I wasn't the only one kind of voicing that opinion, and just kind of left them in the tumbler a little bit longer, whatever they do to round these off a little bit, and it's a better feeling knife in the hand. and I'm really happy with it. So much so that I also have the 561. So I know it's a little bit crazy. I went from getting rid of a 560 to having a 560 and a 561. But the 561 was always the version that I really wanted, and it just wasn't available until recently. And again, you know, it just turned out that this knife came available, and I jumped on it because I really love this dark brown handle scale. Other than that, these two knives are identical for anybody that's curious. There's nothing at all different between these two versions, the 560 and the 561, aside from the G10 color on this side. Now the 561 does have a little bit different action. Actually, the lock bar is even a little bit easier to disengage on this one, and it's just super smooth. I mean, no problem. And if you disengage it, I mean, it just slides right back into the handle. I mean, it's just totally different than the first knife that I had, and I don't know, you know, how many changes they made, but I'm really digging these two knives, and I'm kind of thinking about keeping both of them. You know, it's I like them both. They're both very nice looking. I like both of the colors, the black and the brown, and I don't see that being any different than having various sprint runs of like a Paramilitary 2 or something. I mean, you know, people do that. I don't think it's really that crazy. But anyway, just thought I'd give you a little update here on the Zero Tolerance 560. I mean, I said it before, the 560 is a great knife, and I still feel that way. Here's my Zero Tolerance knives and my Kershaw tilt. Can't say enough good things about the KVT system. I think it's really cool, and I think the 560 was a really good knife that they just kind of you know, made even better with whatever refinements they've made in the manufacturing process. So highly recommended. That's all for today. Take care, and I'll see you next time.